Hey, Freedom Builders. Welcome again to your weekly coaching call. I'm your host, Rolando Galeana. You can also call me your coach, Rolando. So I am here for the next hour to answer any and all your questions. Uh, as you know, you'll want to drop your questions in the comment box as we go through. I'll answer them to the best of my knowledge. And I see that we already have a few questions lined up here. So without further ado, let's dive right into these questions. So it looks like Nathan asks, hi, Rolando, I'm looking for suppliers for a couple of products that I would like to bundle together. During searches on ASIN number and Jungle Scout, very rarely list the suppliers that companies use. And I usually only get as far as finding the name of the competitor's business that is selling on the ASIN. Could you please go over what to do at that point to find the supplier? So one of the many challenges when you're using the supplier database is that we can only retrieve the information that's available through the Freedom of Information Act. And it's essentially the information that's also shared with US Customs. So all that data that you see on supplier database is publicly available information, and that's what we were able to bundle it together and really be if we have full access to the information, then of course you'll get a better description of the company and the supplier being used. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case with some suppliers, because some suppliers can even mask the information so that it's not shared via the Freedom of Information Act. So that's something that might be impacting your searches. A lot of companies have gotten savvy to this and have opted to have their information hidden from the public domain. So, I mean, in that it's a great tool, supplier database, but unfortunately, that is the limitation of only what's accessible and available through the public domain. So, what I would suggest in your case, you're saying what to do at this point to find the supplier. Sometimes what happens, in addition to them probably hiding the information from the public domain, it's also possible that to trace it back the business identity. That's why we recommend creating an LLC, because in a way it's an additional cover, additional safeguard against people having that. You have that iron curtain, that iron veil to protect your liable. So you're not held liable, and you protect your assets, your personal assets. But it also gives that added protection of your identity, and in this case, more than likely, it's going to be very hard to find the specific supplier for the company that you're interested in. So my recommendation is just start vetting suppliers. If you get to that point where you've used supplier database and the information is just not readily available, there's not additional information that we can retrieve or pull from, other than trying to do a Google search. That might be like the next step. But beyond that, if they're just not sharing that information, then ultimately you'll have to just kind of reach out to suppliers for that particular product and vet them. And the way I like to do this is I just love to go in, cast a really wide net. So just give you an example, and let me. Yeah, that's unfortunate thing, Nathan, is that it has its limitations, supplier database. And as much as I would wish to tell you that there's like a workaround to getting that additional information, then but there isn't. This is now kind of like the next step that you'd want to take is just let's say that you're interested in finding yoga mats. I always use that because it's like that's the usual product everyone uses, just to kind of give examples. So I'm looking at different yoga mat suppliers. What I like to do is like to check off to make sure that they, let's see here. Yeah, my screen is sharing, that they are trade assurance as well as verified supplier, and less than an hour to respond. So this last one, it's not 100% necessary because obviously there's difference in time zones, right? And it's almost like, as it's nighttime here, it's daytime in China. So my suggestion is, you could start off with these, and if you still get results, then great. If not, then you can go out and uncheck that. But at a bare minimum, I like to have trade assurance checked off and a verified supplier, because it tells me that at least the supplier went that extra step. Oftentimes it's just they pay for the service, but they went that extra step, so they're have a little bit more interest of like building a long-term business and using Alibaba as the way that they could market themselves, right? So I like to do that, and then I just start to go through and literally I like to use this view here, and let me see. Just looking at the different products. I literally just cast a wide net over this entire product. So like, as long as it has a similar look and to my product, I'll go in here and I'll literally just contact each supplier. I'll use the template that we provide and just go through each supplier and just send it to a wide net of suppliers. What's going to happen is they begin to weed themselves out, and the ones that actually want the business will reach out to you. So I'm going to sign it. So, but otherwise, just contact each and every one, and then they'll weed themselves out. Usually we'll have like 10 questions lined up, asking what the minimum order quantity is, what can you alter the product to include your branding, what the template typically puts on there, as well as any additional questions that you might have that are specific to your product. And so what's going to happen is some will respond to you immediately, and they'll have all questions filled out, and very well. They've communicated effectively. Some will come back and they'll miss a question or two, or it's just you really can't understand what they're trying to convey, because there's that language barrier. And so little by little, they kind of weed themselves out, and I only work with the ones that I can have great communication with, that I can kind of go back and forth, communicate effectively, as well as they're thorough and their prompts. And so you'll probably start out with sending out the template to 100+ suppliers, but you'll probably get a response, an immediate response from 30 or so suppliers. And then within that 30, there's probably only going to be 10 that that are thorough, that communicate effectively. And so that's essentially the process I use, just because I don't spend a lot of time in this part of of the vetting process. I let them, they almost weed them, like I said, they weed themselves out. So that's part of my vetting process. And then I'll start to communicate with the top 10 and negotiate with the top 10. In some cases, you could be like, this person's giving me this quote. Can you do better than them? And so on. And that's how you start that negotiation process if they can, in fact, manufacture your product. So oftentimes, unfortunately, if supplier database doesn't give you the immediate results, there's no workaround around that. The next step is to go ahead and start doing your own due diligence through Alibaba.com. And then you have the second part to your question, which says, since this will be my first product listed, there could be additional challenge with alterations to one of the products. And if I cannot find a factory that produces both products, then the shipment of one to the other to be bundled before shipment would need to be coordinated. Do you think it'd be worth hiring a sourcing agent from Upwork to assist with this? try to negotiate better prices, and make sure there are no miscommunications. The short answer to that is, what is your budget? What are you looking, how much can you invest? If there's ways that you can source the product more effectively, faster, then certainly I'm not one to say don't use Upwork or someone that would essentially do the vetting for you. However, that if you're looking, if you don't have, your startup capital is not, it's, you don't want to invest too much upfront. I always love to be able to do this part of the process, just because the more effective, think of it this way: every time you go to find a product, you're going to have to use a sourcing agent. They're going to get a cut of that every time. And so that starts to diminish the return on your investment. This is going to be a part of the job that you're going to need to master and get good at. So in my opinion, it's best to do it yourself. This is part of the job. This is part of, there's a lot of other things that you can outsource, but the product research and product sourcing parts, I would say, are the cornerstone of your business. That's literally what everything else is built off of. For example, PPC, you can outsource, definitely. Creating your listing, you can outsource that. Different things that you can outsource, because at the end of the day, those items, they're not the bulk of your business. The bulk of your business is finding products that are sell well, and that just fit your entire criteria of or your whole brand that you're trying to build out. So that's why I say don't outsource this if it will speed things up, but at the end of the game, this is not a sprint, this is a marathon. So just keep that in mind. Let's see here. Do we have any more questions? Oh, it looks like you have the next question. Nathan says, what's your thoughts on finding suppliers on 1688.com? I'll pull that up here so that everyone can see. Let me just pull this tab in here. So for those that aren't familiar, 1688 is pretty much, it's Alibaba for Chinese residents. So Chinese residents use 1688 to purchase items. They can sell smaller quantities because they have more trading companies on here that will sell individual or smaller like units, unit count, instead of just the bulk, or getting like 1,000 minimum order quantity. So those are the advantages, that they tend to be they can sell in smaller quantities. In addition to that, so it's like, think of like Alipay. I mean, not Alipay. What's it? Why is it escaping my mind? AliExpress. I was like, it's like, why is this? AliExpress. AliExpress is another. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Is another site also owned by Alibaba, and here you can get smaller unity. This one you can get smaller quantity counts. This tends to deal with the world. AliExpress, I mean, it's open to the world, much like Alibaba is open to the world. It caters to the entire world, whereas 1688 is clearly specific to the Chinese residents, or to China. So that's why even Google is translating everything. This is all in Chinese, but I have Google Translate on, and it's translating this to English. So long story short, with 1688, the challenges with 1688 is you're not going to have individuals that can communicate to you as effectively as in Alibaba. Alibaba, you're working, suppliers there know that they're going to be shipping to the United States, Europe, and other countries. And English is a very is a language used for business. So they'll have reps at every every supplier that can you know speak or is fairly fluent in English. So that's why I say Alibaba. To this day, I still use Alibaba.com. They're the best site for that. They've just the suppliers know, and they've built out their business with this in mind, that they're catering to the world, and that and so they also all want to be on this site. They want to be on this site because they know this is for them where the money's at. They're out to also make money and gain customers. Whereas with 1688, you're going to have that language barrier, and it's not going to be as smooth of a process to source from them. So, and then AliExpress, of course, it's good. It's like now you're dealing with retailers. Same, you'll be dealing with more retailers at 1688, whereas here at Alibaba.com, you're dealing 100% with, well, the vast majority are direct to the supplier. So you're cutting out the middleman. You're going to get the lowest prices by buying in bulk. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. So I'm not for or against in either of these sites. You could do little micro launches, right? You might want to test out a product, and you don't want to use 1,000. You don't want to order 1,000 units, and you're willing to lose a little of your margin, right? Your profit margin. So then you might want to launch via a few products, a couple hundred from AliExpress, test it out, see how it goes. It's not going to be branded. It's going to obviously be generic, because AliExpress is not like I said, this is the middleman, this is the retailer. The product is being sold as is, but 9 times it's just a generic look, no branding on it. And then, of course, but the name of the game with private label is working with a supplier, because obviously they can alter your product, they can do the changes that you want. So that's it in a nutshell between those 3 companies that are all owned by Alibaba. They're smart. Basically, what they're doing is that they're just catering to their different audiences through different channels. But at the end of the day, each one caters to a very specific need. This Alibaba.com is for private. If you're looking to do private label as we teach it, this is why Alibaba.com is what we use. And then the others are more for testing out a market, or sometimes you find good deals at AliExpress. You might want to go in there and just shop for yourself. It'll take a long time to arrive, because a lot of times it's coming straight from China. But sometimes it is airshipped, so you might get it within a couple of weeks, a week or 2. So check it out, AliExpress. I like to shop there once in a while. It's fun. So let me go ahead and get to the next question here. All right. So Matt asks, I have a question this week on FDA approval for food containers. It is hard to get any information on Amazon on this. Does any bowl, cup, bag, tray, lunchbox actually need FDA approval before being sold? Thanks. So a short answer, Matt, no, not all. However, the fastest and the best way, the most effective way to know if kind of what the restrictions are is just one. Let's say that you've landed on a product that you're interested in. You could order that product on Amazon, and you can see on the packaging what what's it'll say like FDA approved, or whatever the case, whatever certification, whatever it needs is required to be on the product packaging. So that's a quick and easy way, just get it and order it on Prime, order 1 unit and check it out and inspect and see, what the product, and that could be also an opportunity to be able to see if the product's patented. You'll see if it's patent pending, or if it has a patent on it. And so on. So that would be, a very easy way of doing that, and just kind of like, just kind of cutting through all the madness that of like trying to figure this out through online, and and so forth. The other option to or this would happen at the same time, I would suggest is to go in and to begin to create the listing. Like I go through the process of creating the listing, and then you'll know if it's like what's required by Amazon, if it's a gated product or not. So that's why I say you would do both of those if you've kind of narrowed your search down to a particular product, and you'll know exactly what needs to be done to launch the product, and whether or not there's just like additional hoops that you need to go through. So with that, I'm gonna get a drink of my coffee. Let's see here. Omar asks, my question is, while registering for Seller Central account, is it all right to give our personal credit card details instead of our business account card details? Omar, absolutely. You can use any, you can link any credit card to your account. It's just your bank account that will have to be specifically tied to your business. So typically the credit card, you might use it for like PPC, whatever the case may be. So you just kind of, so it is good to have, obviously having both on file. Derek asks, hi guys, thanks for all the great work. I have a question regarding brand registry. Is it better to have one brand for each different product that you're selling, or is it better to put many different products under one brand? Thanks. Great question, Ferry. When it comes to selling on Amazon, the best way of putting it is there's no right or wrong with that. Whereas someone might be on there to build the brand, and someone might just be on there to quickly get products out, right? So there's those, it's just like two mindsets, two different types of sellers. Someone just wants to devote more time to building a brand, right? And so that's why I say there's not a right or a wrong with either. But in the early days, what I will say, and it also comes down to your budget, right? And your investment, how much you're willing to invest in your business. In the early days, the best approach is to build like an overarching brand, and you're going to get acclimated. You'll start to understand how to sell on Amazon, and you could launch faster, right? So in the early days, what you'll be doing is you'll be using the same brand for different products just to get them out there quickly. And they're not going to be completely aligned sometimes, right? Because you're doing your product research, you're using Jungle Scout, you're using a data-based approach to be able to launch these products. And during the course of doing that, you may find a really good product that you learned. And this is the best approach, that you realize, okay, this is hot. This product's doing really well, and there's a lot more I could do with it, and it's going to be all correlated. So I would say that's the launching pad to build one brand that is, has multiple products that are ultimately similar, in terms of like what their purpose is. So, for example, maybe in the early days, you launch yoga mats, which don't do, because it's just an example, and it's a very saturated market. But you launch yoga mats, and you realize there's a hot market for it, and you might have, for example, just to test it out, you did a spatula after that. So now you have a yoga mat and spatula under the same brand. Really doesn't relate. But then you really want to build out that yoga mat business. So then you buy some yoga blocks, and then you start buying weights, and so then you're right. At first, you had this idea of just one brand with a very generic name, but maybe that becomes the brand, going forward altogether, and you just want to focus on that. So that's kind of the idea, is that you'll kind of find your groove the more you adapt, the more you kind of navigate the system, the Amazon ecosystem. All right, let's see here. Looks like, okay, cool. looks like we got through all the questions that were submitted earlier in the week. Now it's time to get to the live questions. And Nam's on the call. Let's see. Hello, my friend. Hey, how's it going, Nam? Thank you for the weekly education. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm curious. I'm just curious. Is there a way to sell my product directly to a retailer like Walmart? Is there a way to have my product available inside Walmart store shelves? Can you please share your experience and thoughts around selling your products physically available to retailer shelves, not online? My experience is only online, so I can't speak to the retail side of things. But I will say that you would want to open up a Walmart seller, they call it Seller Center account, not Seller Central, and a Walmart Seller Center, and you can begin to sell your products on essentially online. It's a very similar format as Amazon FBA. Probably the way you'll want to set it up and is to have all your products warehoused in one location. And then and that would be through like a third-party logistics company, a 3PL, but make sure that they are capable of sending your product, delivering your products to through different manufacturers, right? So they can link up because they'll be able to you'll be able to link some of these platforms of 3PLs to different to different channels, Amazon, Walmart, eBay, and so forth. And then they could just fulfill them for you at the 3PL. That would be one approach, and I would strongly encourage that over, trying to ship it yourself or whatnot. Just obviously, it's going to be a little bit more laborsome. I do have a friend who decided to go out and get their own warehouse space and do it themselves. And they just have a small team fulfilling orders and whatnot. And then the bulk of their their business is on FBA, but they have other sales channels and they're doing it that way. And so that would be my suggestion as a starting point. Alternatively, and this is just from speaking to individuals that do sell retails. I can't speak to it from experience, as I mentioned. But if you want to get started with Walmart, you would just have to pitch it to them. You would have to pitch the product to them. You'd have to get in touch with with their leadership and whoever does their retail side, and you just have to pitch your product to Walmart. It's not easy to get them to kind of sit down and do that initial conversation, but it's very possible. If you have a product that sells really well on Amazon, they're going to want to get their hands on it, and it's well branded and so forth. Then Walmart, obviously, you would just go that route and just pitch it to them directly. That's how it's been done, and that's the way I know to get on Walmart. I don't have any context, so this will just have to be there's gonna be some hustle there to get a contact for Walmart that could just listen to you. And they do this regularly. This is like there's a devoted team to that process. So that would be my suggestion there. But like I said, also just getting on Walmart, right, online, that's a good gateway, because then of course, if your product is already showing traction on Walmart.com, it'll be a much easier way to transition your product to the retail side, like brick and mortar side of things. All right. Omer asks, can you please explain how to be sure that the product is not patent in the UK market? I've tried searching on Google and couldn't find any solid information regarding my product. So that's okay. So it sounds like you're launching in the UK. So you're looking to see if it's been patented. Now, unfortunately, I don't have familiarity with the UK market, but a few things I know will transfer over always when it comes to patents. And the first thing is buying the product. Like I talked about earlier, just buy the product, check to see the packaging, does anything on there, they if it's patented, they have to put a patent number on the product. So unless, to gain that protection of the patent. So that would be like a quick and easy way to determine if it's patented. If it's patent pending, a little different. Not everybody will, stamp their product with patent pending. Although, like, definitely patent pending, I would still stamp it. If say you're applying for a patent, then and you have a patent pending, definitely I would put that on my product. Really, read through the listing, the description of that product, because they will directly state there that it's patented. I don't understand why a brand or an organization would not do that to protect themselves. So in addition to that, so buy the product, look on the listing, and because I'm not familiar with any websites specifically in the UK. Obviously here, we would use the United States Patenting Office, the USPO website, and we can quickly kind of do a search. And then there's Google Patents. Let me see if it works in the UK though. I don't know. I would think so. Let me just share my screen here. Share my screen. So I just did a Google search, Google Patents. First one that pops up is this site here. And, let's just say it's, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a product. Let's see. Let's just put iPad on here just because I'm out of examples and ideas. This is a great way to look for patents. I don't know if you've used Google Patents. Maybe you could drop let me know that you have, yes or no. But this is searching the entire world. So it's not regionally located. So I would use I would use definitely the Google Patent site directly. In many cases, it's almost better. Well, especially in the if you're not in the U.S., it's better than the U.S. Patent Office website, because this kind of does some broader searches with different, with just several keywords. You can do broader searches. You can narrow your searches. You could add synonyms. You could add the dates, the inventor. So like if you have a company that you think that might be, that you have in mind, you might put that as the inventor here and so forth. So just use Google Patents. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I could give you for advice on that. Oh, one other thing. If you see that the product, on Amazon, for example, I look at yoga mats, right? If I see that there are several vendors of a similar product, my inkling, my gut would tell me that that's not a patented product, because immediately, if I have a patented product, I'm going to go after these different vendors, and I'm like, well, I'll let Amazon know to protect my brand, and they'll suppress or they'll shut down that listing because it is a patented product if you could prove that. So that's why I say just see how many vendors carry a similar product as that one. See order the product. Once you've done that initial step, order the product to see if the product itself has the patent information on it, and also do a Google Patent search. Oh, awesome. So yes, Google Patents, that should work for you then, Omer. Cool. Yeah, Omer says, Omer said, did I close it out? No, just I have so many screens here. It's hard to keep. Omer says that, no, I haven't used that. Thanks for reminding me. So cool. Awesome. Yeah, Google Patents is always my starting point. And I guess I was just kind of confusing like that. The UK US search would be different, but honestly, Google is going to give you like access to the world, so world and all the patents. All right. When the B2B customer buys products from you at a discount, is there a chance they will turn around and sell those products on your, non-masked? When a B2B customer buys products from you at a discount, is there a chance they will turn around and sell those products on your listing? What are some protective measures you can take to prevent that from happening? It's possible in them, but typically the discount is just so minor. It's not a big discount. You know, and it's just because they're buying, and I would cap it. I wouldn't say like, you know, put a large number. It's like if they bought 5-10 units, that's, you know, like that would be the limit, you know, that's like a break point, right? That they can get a discount. You could also cap how many purchases a particular a buyer can buy from you. So that would be another protective measure, is to go in and you know, just kind of put a threshold of how many one particular buyer can buy from you overall, just so that it doesn't become a big issue, you know. So that would be another safeguard, but I wouldn't be too concerned of the B2B. On the B2B side of things, typically where you see that happen, where they go in and they buy it and then they resell it on your listing, is when you're driving some major discounts, just because maybe it's a launch and you want to get, you know, you want your price to be super competitive. And so that would be sometimes, or if you're trying to liquidate, oftentimes you're going to come down price and so on. But I would say that's not a big concern on the B2B side. And yeah, you could protect it by putting in those thresholds at any that no one exceeds those. All right, so let's see here. I'm all caught up. We still have 15 minutes to go. Good questions. And just kind of expanding on the topic of patents, always keep in mind that it's regional, it's dependent, you know, it's based on the country that you applied for the patent. That's where it can be enforced. So in some cases, some countries have treaties, where they offer a little bit of protection, but the true nature of patents is that they are country specific, and if you want the best protection, you would apply for the patent within the different countries that you will be selling that product. That's to provide, you know, like if you want that ultimate coverage. But you know, just 9 times out of 10, just applying like in the country that your primary business will be enforceable, and of course enough of a safeguard. Let's see, Nam asks, how often do you do a product research for a new product? So for me, if I was, we talked about this a couple weeks back, where my product research typically starts when, you know, like I'm looking to launch a new product. However, in some cases, there's some easy wins, right? We're talking about this, where product research might not be as thorough, right, as your very first product launch. So let me share with you my screen. Let me pull this up here. Sorry, trying to. Okay. So let's say I'm looking at this particular seller. They're a good seller. They're in the best seller category. I can go in here and I can get some ideas of, you know, what they're selling, right? So if I come in here and I go to the brand balance form, I should be able to pull up all the different products that this particular person is selling, right? So my first product research brought me to the point where I want to find, the top sellers within my category and see and like spy on them and to find out what they're doing as well. Because I could easily run the Chrome extension here and start to see the sales, the number of sales, get all that information up front, right? So I'm betting to see which one of these products as well would be a good fit for the one product that I'm already selling. So maybe to expand it, and I could start doing like virtual bundles, things like that. And so then I would that would be my approach. So sometimes by doing this part of the process, it speeds up the product research phase. I wouldn't use it for your first product launch, because your first product launch is literally finding a good deal, finding a good product that fits the criteria. But as you become, as you start advancing, as you start selling more products, then of course the goal is, it's not even quantity. It's like just finding quality products and seeing like what the competition's doing, like your top competitors. Another way of determining your top competitors within your niche is, say I'm back on that listing, the yoga mats. Let's go back. My internet would just not cut out. I don't know why it's not. I think my internet's cutting out. Okay. Let's go. So what I would do here, if this is my product and I'm selling yoga mats, come in here into the listing. And if you go down to the product description, let's go past here. My product details. As you can see, it's number one seller in yoga mats. This is the subcategory. So then I click on yoga mats and I can see all the top sellers with, in the category yoga mats. So this isn't keyword based, but this is more when you're first creating your listing, you made a decision that, oh, my product fits the category of yoga mats. It's basically, it's sports and outdoors, sports and fitness, and then it kind of like niching down to yoga and then mats. So then yoga mats is basically, this is the best seller. Balance From is the best seller within that category. So now what I can do is I have like the best of the best. They're obviously doing something right. So I can kind of go through here and just kind of get some ideas, right? Of what's the second best doing? Well, it's actually still Balance From. What's the third best seller also selling? And I would still do my due diligence in the sense of, run it through Chrome extension, see, how profitable it is, watch it over time, see like what, see if is this just a product that is seasonal, or is this, are the sales consistent? What's the competitive landscape like? Is the competition, are they really well established? That's why I say like yoga mats this isn't a good example of what you would be doing, because I could kind of really quickly see that the top competitors already have 73,000 reviews, 23,000, 45, and at the end of the day, your number one goal is to be ranked within the best sellers. So this is the competitive landscape of of where you're going to be. Then that's why I say it's not a good launching strategy. The goal is you're going to find those kind of like those gems through product research. So in a nutshell, product research, if I was to say, I think your question was, how often do you do a product research for a new product? I would say, I mean, it's probably quarterly if I was to like average it out quarterly, just because a product launch isn't going to, I take my time with it in terms of nurturing it and giving it kind of like love and attention. um, not trying to, and like building up the listing, optimizing PPC, the whole nine. And so that's why I say everybody's got it's going to have a different approach. Like I said, I'm in it for the long haul, so I'm not like trying to just churn things out, and that's why I say that I can kind of avoid doing the full on product research phase, because I can find within that niche some really good gems as well. So things to keep in mind. And Nam asks, can you share a bad experience you had regarding product launch, and what did you learn from it? Actually, good question. A bad experience was my very first product, and here's why. It was good in that, I did everything to the T. Like I said, I was following the $1 Million Case Study to learn, and I was kind of, I didn't have a coach. I didn't have anyone I could bounce ideas off. I didn't have and none of this, right? I didn't even have a course. I just kind of like self-taught how to sell on Amazon. And at that time there wasn't even a whole lot out there as well. So successful launch, and I hit the sweet spot where my product was also selling. I got my product in just ahead of Black Friday, so that gave it another little bump. And at the end of the day, one of the sellers reached out to me and told me that sent me a cease and desist letter. And this is where like I didn't know enough right at that time. And so this product went on, like I sold it off. Luckily, that initial 1,000 units that I had ordered, and I got scared, and I thought like, oh my gosh, like I can't sell this product on Amazon anymore. It was such a phenomenal product. It sold out. Come to find out, one, I mean, and this is a good discussion for you, Omer, because I didn't do my due diligence on the patent, right? Like if there was any existing patents. And then I kind of took a step back and ended up, just kind of looking for a different product altogether. Come to find out that they didn't have a patent on that product. I relaunched it, so but like they scared me enough, like with the cease and desist, that I, I backed off for a time. So it's like, while I had like the pedal to the metal, and I could have even done, because this was just ahead. I was getting ready to reorder my next batch, because it was already, I was like, okay, this is a really hot product. And so, yeah, so I kind of, this was right before Christmas that I kind of released the pedal to the metal. And yeah, I mean, just kind of a little bit of opportunity lost, because the seller intimidated me enough to not sell that product. And then two, I should have done, more thorough patent research, right? And I would have known, it's like, oh, this guy, this person's just trying to intimidate me. They're just trying to get me off of selling their product, because they saw that I was obviously moving up. I was moving up in the bestseller rank. They're talking about, right? Because I started off on maybe page 1,000, but here I was surfacing on page 1, and my PPC was coming up on page 1. So I looked like I was everywhere with this product. But yeah, that was like a big lesson learned, that one, don't let people intimidate you, and but definitely, like, two, put the pedal to the metal. Just put the pedal to the metal when you got it going on, and you've found a groove. And then three, and actually this should be step number 1, do your due diligence, right? Do all the due diligence of what we talked about. We talk about in Freedom Builder Bootcamp, and I just kind of shared a little bit of of what you should be doing when it comes to patent research. Let's see here. We're almost out of time. I think there's one more question that just popped up. Oh no, actually, here's Omar asked, is it a good idea to do product research on the US market and sell it in the UK market? Omar, I would not recommend that. Just because what people purchase in the US and the consumer behaviors in the US are going to be very different from consumer behaviors in the UK market. So a product that could be doing really well in the US might not be doing as well in the UK. So that's why definitely put your focus on the UK market and what's happening. That's where you're going to launch your product. Otherwise, there could be, it could kind of come back and, just be a bad experience. So that's why I definitely do your product research in your market that you're looking to launch your product in. And then I'll end with this, Inam. This is the last question. Inam asks, I really love JS. Can you please share your thoughts as to what kind of skills you need to get a job with Jungle Scout? Please give me some advice. Thank you. Yeah, that's obviously why I'm a team member on Jungle Scout. I just love what I do. I'm passionate, obviously, about selling on Amazon and educating people on how to sell on Amazon. It's what keeps me going. That I think that's a huge part of it is the culture of Jungle Scout is being passionate about what you do, and that's part of the reason why when I started with Jungle Scout, I work obviously from home, and it's awesome. It's like and the idea is, I brought my passion with the $1 Million Case Study. I don't know if y'all know that I was on season 4 of the $1 Million Case Study. Shared, kind of sharing my my knowledge, working with Greg, working alongside Greg. So I just brought my passion to one day I was just kind of experimenting and that's kind of how I ended here. So you're obviously being passionate about what you do, and in your case, obviously selling on Amazon. Because obviously within Jungle Scout, you've got marketers, you've got engineers, you've got 300 plus employees now, and that's basically they're passionate about what they do. They're passionate. So find with anything, find exactly what it is that you love to do. So for example, if I don't do everything at Jungle Scout, right? Here, what I do is I lead out the educational part, right? I'm a content marketing senior specialist. So I bring my experience, my knowledge, my passion to selling on Amazon. And that's kind of the niche that I'm in, right? I alongside with Greg, we built Freedom Builder Bootcamp for y'all, for our customers and our members in particular. Like, this is a passion project of Greg's, and that's why we continue this. So in your case, what is it that you really love? And there's opportunities. Like, we're a growing company, so we are fast growing company. In fact, let me put this: I was employee probably number 45 back 3 years ago, and now we have 300 employees. So just kind of goes to show how quickly things are changing and how big the opportunity is to sell on Amazon, because we exist because of Amazon sellers, right? And so we're here. We're built by sellers for Amazon sellers. So what started off as a tool, a gadget that Greg Mercer, our CEO and founder, was just kind of using to do his product research initially, then became something that everybody was wanting. So it kind of opened up that opportunity of him sharing, that product with, that product research tool with others. And then, like they say, the rest was history. So yeah, just bring that passion to go to I think it's junglescout.com/jobs, and just look at the different, the different opportunities that are there, and see what you are passionate about. And bringing that passion is what I would say is what our recruiting team is always looking for. Yeah, I hope that helps. All right, and that concludes today's coaching call, everyone. As always, keep crushing it, and I will be seeing you next week, same time, same place. Take care, y'all.